All right, so we're going to do contour drawing today. We're going to do something called blind contour drawing first. And this is something that is going to seem weird. It's an exercise, though, that helps you to see what's in front of you. Remember, I talked about the two hemispheres of your brain, right? And how you want to draw with the right side of your brain. And you have to make those connections, okay? By practicing. And one of the ways to do it is a contour drawing. So that if you feel like you don't draw well enough, if you do enough of these, more than just what we're going to do right now, then you're going to get better. It's going to build those connections in your brain from your hand to your eyes to what you're seeing, and that's what's going to make you draw better. All right. It's going to help you. It's not going to actually help you draw better. It's going to help you see better. All right. So the first drawing we're going to make is going to be very different than the thing we just did. So the thing we just did had to look exactly like that photograph that we were drawing, and this will not look like what it is you're drawing. Okay, because you're not going to be able to look at the paper while you're drawing. You're going to focus on your subject, and in this case, your subject is going to be your hand. So we are going to sit like I'm sitting, facing away from the paper so that I'm not looking at the paper, and that if I turn to look, I'll be aware that I'm doing it, right? So the idea is that you have to be, you don't want to see what your hand is doing. You only want to focus on this, right? Now, because we're doing that, this won't look like your hand when you're finished. It's going to look hand-like. I mean, it's going to resemble a hand, but it isn't going to look exactly like your hand. And if it looks too much like your hand, then it probably means that you cheated, that you were peeking, okay? So in the class, I always get to watch the students and how they're sitting, and I get to move them around to make sure that they're seated the right way. I'm going to have to trust that you're doing it, okay? And it really does. It's gonna be beneficial to you, okay? It isn't about this, like I said, this finished drawing. What I'm looking at when I grade the drawing isn't it looks like your hand, but that it looks like you did it long enough and you followed the proper procedure and your line has the proper line quality, okay? Line quality means the character of the line. So we are going to have a very slow organic line, and you're going to see that here when we're doing it, okay? It's a very specific type of line, this contour type line. Now what I recommend is you set a timer for 5 minutes so that you know that you spent 5 minutes on this drawing, okay? Now, some of you, because you are so inexperienced in looking, that 5 minutes is gonna seem like it's taking forever. You're gonna think your timer's broken, okay? It isn't, all right? Some of you haven't really concentrated on something so intently before, and so it'll be, you'll get one done. You'll think, oh yeah, I spent 5 minutes on that, and it'll only be 30 seconds, right? So a lot of times students will start over again and again and again. You're going to watch me do it. I'm going to spend for sure 5 minutes. I might even go longer than 5 minutes, okay? But for sure 5 minutes, and 5 minutes isn't really long enough for all the information that you have in your hand. Now, the things that are significant about how you pose your hand, you can see that I'm posing my hand in kind of a weird way. I've got some overlap of form, all right? So I have fingers in front of fingers in front of hand, in front of palm. So when I do that, it gives me space, okay? It gives me overlap of form, gives me the illusion of space. If I hold my hand like this, that's flat, okay? No matter how well I draw this, it's going to look flat. We want to have an illusion of space in our drawing, okay? The other thing that's important is that you get the inside information here, the inside wrinkles, because that defines form. If you think about what the word contour is used for, a contour map, for example. A contour map describes the surface, the ups and downs of the topography, right? That's what a contour map does. So this is the same thing. So it isn't just about the outlines, it's about what's going on inside. Now, because we are not allowed to look at the paper, that means it's going to be one slow, continuous line. And so you'll be restating things and going back over things because you're not allowed to pick up your pen because you wouldn't know where to put it back down once you did do that, all right? So that's what's going to happen. Now, we talk about the hemispheres of the brain. As I'm doing this, because it's using two different hemispheres of my brain, the talking part and then the doing part, I actually can talk while I'm doing this, but eventually I'm just going to trail off and probably just be intent on what I'm doing here, okay? So let's go ahead and start. Doesn't matter where you start on your hand, you're going to put your pen down and you are going to begin. As slow as my line is moving, that's as slow as I am looking. Drawing a wrinkle here, and I have to back out of the wrinkle. Because it has to be a continuous line. Usually say at the beginning that the scale of this is going to start off life size, but the proportion is not going to be accurate. Because the only way proportion can be accurate is if you looked at your paper and checked. So there's my timer going off, and I have only done thumb, finger, finger, finger. I haven't got the whole hand done. You can see my slow line quality here. So slow organic line, wrinkle of the thumb here, these wrinkles. I don't know where my thumbnail went off to. But then this is the next finger, all right, or this is the finger here. There's another finger coming up that I don't know where that went off to. We've got a nice, we got my other finger coming down, so the nail there, and then the ring finger coming in here. Now, you don't really see yet enough overlap of form. There is overlap of form, but it looks like it's transparent, right? And then you do have these wrinkles like this here, these here, which help to define the form of the finger. Okay, so I believe like that is my ring coming around here. So that's helping describe the roundness of the finger. And then you can see this, the top of the finger foreshortened coming out at you. Okay, so this is this is exactly what needs to happen with the contour drawing. And you can see that it starts off, my thumb is almost, and my finger, those are almost life size. This finger, this finger, this finger, they're all life size. But it starts to spread out this way, and that's where the proportion starts to throw off. And so you can see that if I could have gone another 5 minutes on this. So, but at the very beginning, it might be good to just try a 5 and then maybe another 5 and then do another 10 with this method, with the blind contour, okay? So you can see this example, and then you can see the example that's in Canvas and what these are supposed to look like, and how long you're supposed to be spending on it, okay? So that's the blind contour.